Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Ask Mary. Thank you so much for joining me, and here I am. So, in Ask Mary, I answer some of the burning questions that you have. I send out an appeal every Thursday, where I invite you to ask me questions, burning questions about migration. Um, and I try to answer these in videos like these. So, before we get any further, I just want to invite you guys to go to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. That's the sweet spot because that'll keep you informed every time I post a new video, every time I post a new question that I am answering, and just with more information about what's going on and the best ways and strategies for safe and legal migration. Today's question is coming from somebody who's more interested in migrating to Germany. And this is the question. Hi, Mary. I'm a 37-year-old woman, that was, and I want to do social work in Germany. Is this possible? Great question. Now, if you didn't already know, there are two options for volunteer work in Germany. There is the BFD program, which this lady is more oriented to because of her age, which is from 27 years upwards. And then there is social year, the FSJ, which is for people who are under the age of 27. Now, if you're under the age of 27, this volunteer social year is actually meant just to be an exploration kind of phase. You know, like how you do a gap year and you go and you discover your life or discover what you want to do with your life. This is actually the point of FSJ volunteer social year. But BFD, which is for those who are above social year, now you'll understand likely that by the time you are 30, you're not really considered as somebody who is doing a gap year from school, okay, or from university. So it's more for professionals who are into social care, who are into volunteer work, who are engaged in this kind of volunteer work. So that being said, to answer the question, how do I do this? Is this possible? Yes, it is possible. It's true. And the main requirements that you have to have is a high school certificate. You have to have finished high school, number one. You have to have a minimum, and this is a key word, minimum of A2 in German proficiency. But I always insist with my clients that they have a B1. Why? Because A2 is the bare minimum of German proficiency. And most of the time, when you have an A2, and especially when you've obtained this A2 outside of the country, you don't really have a good grasp of the language. You don't really understand what's being said. So we push for a B1 for two reasons, because you have then a bit better understanding of what's being said and what's going on and what you're reading. But number two, also because then automatically that puts you in a category higher, right? Understand, if there are 100 candidates who are looking for this position and 85 of them only have A1, but you're the one who has a B1, then you're already in a better position. Okay, so that's why I always encourage that you have a B1. Okay, so we said a high school certificate, we said a B1 in language proficiency, and a minimum of an A2, but we prefer a B1. And the third thing is experience. Now, when you are going for FSJ, experience is not voluntary, is not compulsory. I mean, experience is not compulsory because it's recognized as a gap year. It's somebody who's trying to figure out, and this is what your 20s are for, figuring out what you want to do with your life. But once you are over the age of 30 and you're applying for BFD, you will have to prove that this is something that is an innate part of you. This is something that you do. Volunteer work and social work is something that you have a history and a traceable history of always doing. So you will need some references. You will need to write a very powerful motivational letter to go with a very powerful CV. And some amazing references to be able to prove that this is exactly what you do, not just because you're looking for an out or a way to get into Germany, but you're doing this because this is what you love to do. And I always love to say charity begins at home. So if you can't prove that you have a background in volunteer or social work in the country where you come from, bearing in mind that we come from third world African countries, it'll be very difficult to convince anybody else that you are interested in volunteering and helping other people in a first world setting. These people have systems and in place to help support each other. But if your heart is really worth about volunteering and humanitarianism, then definitely you can find somewhere to gain some of that experience at home. Charity begins at home. Volunteer and get that experience, and then you will have one foot in the door. When it comes to having that BSD voluntary social year. Okay. Also bear in mind that usually social year is not long term, so having an end goal in sight or having an alternative when you're asked the question what's next is also pretty important. Understand that social year is applied for. It's something that you have to apply. That's why I'm talking about having a killer CV, having a killer motivational letter, having killer references, having that humanitarian online presence that says this person is here to help, or this person is a born humanitarian. These things will play into your favor when you're applying for this social year program. So if you are like this lady and you need some tips and you're trying to figure out how you can get in, you can always reach out to me and let's have a consultation session. And you know where to find me: www.maryrazemba.com. You can find me as Mary Razemba on all platforms, but also you can just subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a comment here, and I will definitely get back to you guys with some information. All right, so that's it for this Ask Mary, and I will see you in the next episode when I have a different question. In the meantime, bye, and thanks for watching.